Alright, welcome back to a new TouchDesigner tutorial. And on this one we're going to look at a real treat, which is fractals, 2D fractals. And yeah, so I recently just randomly discovered this technique, and it's very, very powerful and very, very simple. So that's a nice combination. So basically what's going on here is really just a very simple feedback loop. So when it really comes down to what we need is those four operators. Those are really doing the magic here. So two compositions, feedback, and some input, which is in this case a noise. And yeah, I'm gonna build that with you in a second. I'm just gonna turn this off for now. Before we do that, I quickly want to show you two different approaches for a fractal, which is if you look here in the palette, the generators, you have this Julia and Mandelbrot. So you can just drag these in here and use these as they are. So you have a lot of options here as well to play around with these. And if you just look in here, they're based on shaders on GLSL. So just so you know that that exists, that's a thing. So have a look at that if you want to have like more typical fractals in a way. And I'll also generally check out like, you know, these other things here. Okay, so now let's look at the sort of new technique, if you can call it that. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this as usual. I'm going to start with a noise also, as a lot of, like, you know, and a lot of times. I'm going to change this to 1920 by 1080. I'm going to change the pixel format to 32-bit float RGB. And I'm going to change the period here to like 3 and or like 2, and the harmonics to 1, and the amplitude to like 0.12. Then I'm going to go to transform and just animate this slightly by typing in abs time.seconds times 0.1. So this expression. And then I'm going to just add a null here. It's just so we we can easily exchange the noise for other inputs. Then I'm going to add a feedback top as well as a keyboard in chop. It's just so we can easily reset the poles here. So we can just press 1 on our keyboard to reset that. Then I'm going to add a composite here and another composite here. And the second composite should be set to average. That works best. And the other one we can set to overlay for now. And pipe this one in here and pipe this one in here. And I'm actually gonna change the input order here because it's quite important, and that the, like, you can also change the fixed layer here, but this whatever comes from here from the feedback should be the fixed layer. Yeah. All right. I'm also just gonna add another null here, just call it BG, and display that in the background, as well as add an RGB key, which is not necessary in this case, but it's always nice to have. You know, just to make sure it's a black background. All right, so now what we're gonna do is also like, yeah, no, we already changed that. Now we can just go ahead and scale this down. And, you know, that looks amazing. Let's also change the extend overlay to mirror and go ahead and rotate this. And now you might think, what the hell, nothing is happening. You can now just drag this onto here and the magic is happening because of feedback. So now you are in control of this and can do anything your heart desires, basically. So you can just change this rotation value. And you can also change the scale here. And there are really basically infinite possibilities here. So you can like change the pivot. You can change the translation. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can come out of here. You could technically animate this, of course. Yeah, so if you don't want to have this like sort of go into the center, the pivot is a good way to like get rid of that, so it doesn't look as, I don't know, as much as, you know, the thing it actually is, just rotation. So yeah. And the other thing is you can also go to Comp2 and change this to subtract. That also makes for a nice look. I've tried the other things, they don't really work that well. But yeah, this one surely works nicely. But I sort of prefer the overlay, depending on, you know, what you do here. All right, one other thing, two other things is you can use a transform in here as well, another transform. And also change the scale here. And that also looks super interesting. You can change the rotation of that. And, you know, right now it's not even set to mirror. So, you know, that's one look. If you can also go to tiling and set this to mirror. And then, again, it's very different. You can also set this to repeat. And again, a different look. So as you can see, this is really, really versatile and a lot of fun to play around with. And you can just copy and paste this and also add that afterwards. So you can also like after the feedback loop, and then you can like scale it down, and you have like even more of this feedback magic going on. Right. So really that's kind of it. We just have this feedback loop. Most importantly, play around with this composite, this transform. Try different inputs. So you know, you can also try to input your camera, but I thought like it doesn't look that good. You can also try adding a ramp and play around with that. Yeah, so you can try different inputs. You can also like animate this face here, maybe. Yeah, it's also quite interesting. So I think monochrome works best, but you can also turn off the monochrome here. Let's maybe change this to subtract, see what's going on there. Very, very trippy. I hope you can, this isn't like compressed too badly. So I'm gonna get rid of these transforms. Maybe go up with the scaling here. If you go up too much with the scale, it's just gonna look weird like this. You can also turn off the turn on the monochrome. You can then also with a ramp and a lookup make colors there, and you can also add colors here as usual, you know. So make this, I don't know, red and blue and green, and I don't know, it looks terrible, but that looks pretty interesting. Yeah, so this way you can create colors for this as well, so the ones you wish to use. All right, so that's really it. Have a lot of fun with this. I sure am having a lot of fun with this. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you want to support me, I have a Patreon, which is linked in the description. And I also share files and videos there. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.